Welcome to CMMS Radio, a podcast and general resource for all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, from selection to implementation to help you make better choices and have a successful CMMS journey. We'll bring in experts along the way to help us learn more about CMMS, facilities operations, and much more. If you need help with the CMMS project, send a message at CMMSradio.com using the What's on Your Mind link. Suggest a topic, share your CMMS story, or ask questions.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We're here for another episode of CMMS Radio from Brightly Illuminate in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is where they're bringing the best ideas to light. It's an amazing user conference. We're getting really close to the wrap-up. And finally, we've been trying all week. I've got Lee White, and he is with North 10 Philadelphia. That's a nonprofit. Anybody that knows me knows I love nonprofits of any kind, and I want to chop it up all about that. Lee, welcome to CMMS Radio.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity here.
I am so excited to talk to you about this, and you know, people all around the world, when it comes to nonprofits, they've got their own ideas about what they really are. I'm always interested in like the population that you serve and who's really benefiting from the work that you do as an organization. I'd love to hear that, and then we'll get into some facility stuff.
Sounds good. So what we do at North 10 is a nonprofit. We're based into the Hunting Park in East Tioga neighborhood. It's a North Philadelphia area. That's an underprivileged neighborhood. So the founder, Chase Lenfest, started this organization, and we're here to help the community. We have multiple programs that we do. We have a community market, and all of the things that I'm about to tell you too stemmed from the neighborhood. So we went to the neighborhood, asked them what they wanted, and this is what we got back, and then we focused our plan on what they asked for. So one of the main things we have is a community market. It's called the 10th Street Market, and that market helps feed because that area is actually like a food desert. We don't have very many supermarkets in that area or things like that. So it's very limited in the foods that the people can have. So we have a market.
So one of the things I was just thinking about when it comes to having that market, so this is an area that is in such a way that these typical providers, when you go to your normal supermarkets, it doesn't meet the criteria for them to come in and provide a facility and deliver these necessary services. So you guys, listening to the community, observing what you observe, just found a way to step up and get enough people involved to support it, and were able to create and build what was missing. You solved an incredible gap for an entire community. Is that right?
Yes. So there's about approximately 1,350 people annually, over 300 households regularly coming to our market each week that we help to supplement them with different things. We also have diapers if people had that. We do clothing drives. So all of these things that they can't get regularly because it's a food desert. We don't have those major supermarket chains in this area. We supplement them not being able to get out of the neighborhood. Perhaps they can come right to us, sign up with us, and they can get those things free of charge.
Yeah, and it's awesome because imagine if they had to go to where those convenience stores are. That's going to be a challenge as well, because maybe there's deficient public transportation, maybe they don't have a car, and if you did have a car, you got to put gas in it and all those kinds of things. So it solves a lot of problems with just that one thing. But what are some of the other things that you do, services?
So we also have what we just actually opened, which we call the Impact Center. The Impact Center, we partner with two other organizations in Philadelphia, one called Graduate Philadelphia, and the other is called Uplift. And both of those organizations help people with workforce development. So our goal as well, so now we have the food, we're trying to help them nutritionally, but now we want to help them as well to make sure that they can sustain themselves. So they get credentials. We have the Uplift Program actually does a program where they can either get HVAC certified or, exactly, great, right? Or they can get CDL certified. So these guys can come get trucks. And Uplift also helps people that have been incarcerated as well. So it gives people a second chance that may not normally get a second chance.
Now, anybody out there that listens to this, if you don't know anything about the concept of reentry, reintegration, when you rejoin the community, when someone has in fact been incarcerated, forget about what you might think. You gotta try to break down those barriers and stereotypes in your mind, because a lot of times some of that incarceration tends to come from the lack of these resources where somebody can learn a skill. And what I love most of all, and people have heard me talk about this on CMMS Radio, throughout the United States, we have an incredible challenge when it comes to skilled trades, and there's a lot of debate about, should I be going to college or should I go to trade school, and people sometimes look down on the trades. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, tradespeople are retiring. They're riding off into the sunset, and younger people that have the opportunity to learn these trades, practice a craft, take pride in that craft, they are solving problems that are more meaningful than you realize. I will tell you right now, if I could get every tradesperson in the United States to stop work tomorrow, let's not do that. Let's just do that in one small city. I guarantee you the recovery from that is going to take a long time if it ever actually happens. Skilled trades is the real deal. These people make the world go around. Now, I'm not saying everybody else doesn't. All of us in our offices and all these different things, but don't sleep on the skilled trades. All you youngsters out there, and even if you're an adult and you're looking to make some kind of a career change, especially if you're in this area, you now have a resource where you can learn that skilled trade, get that proper training, get credentialed, and go to work. Everybody wants to go to work, and I love that you're doing that. This is one of those kinds of things that I want to talk about and get people learning about it, so that if they're in the local area or even somewhere in the United States and you want to support this group, get in there, look them up. And when I drop this episode, I'm going to put some information so that people can find you if they want to get involved in your cause. I am really passionate about this idea that skilled trades and the work that really happens, the doers, frontline workers, that stuff is beyond meaningful, and too many of us in the world take it for granted. And I promise you, if it wasn't happening, you won't take it for granted anymore. I'll tell you what, if your house, 110 degree weather, and your AC breaks, and you ain't got nobody to fix it, and somebody comes over there that doesn't know what they're doing, it's going to be torture. And I'll tell you why I'm telling you this story. It happened to me last year.
Yeah.
And when those guys showed up and started working on my stuff, I was out there with them talking about their development, how they got into the skilled trades, why they're passionate about it. And it wasn't just that they were going to fix me up, set me up, and get me from burning up or my dog getting overheated. I just was kind of, I was in awe of what they were doing, because they were actually walking me through what they do, and I could see in their eyes how passionate they were about it. They knew exactly what to do, where to look, and they didn't just fix it right quick. They actually did these tests and everything. So that's all brilliant. Now, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears. From a facilities perspective, from an operations perspective, do you deal with multiple sites?
So right now we have 2 sites which we manage. So we start off as a community center, which brings us actually, before I forget, just the base of our core is children. So we have kids there, and we have kids in these same neighborhoods that are underprivileged. They don't get the same opportunities as other kids. So that's our core where we're at. So we have out-of-school time programs. We have summer school programs for the kids. We help them to develop. We help them with their conflicts that they may have. We start by building relationship with the kids and bring them in. Now, when it comes to CMMS and looking over those for a facility standpoint, we just built, in conjunction with the other things, we built a 41-unit low-income affordable housing complex. So nice. Again, right in the heart of North Philadelphia, and we partnered with a trust for the schools that actually built a playground across the street with the schools. So that's where I come in, is that I'm managing the community center, and we have a partner with me as a realtor that managed the apartment houses.
I dig that. So now I'm thinking back to when I was a kid in my hometown, and we had what was called a neighborhood house. And it was just a house. It was a big house that somebody must have donated or they somehow acquired, and then people were in there, and you had after-school programs, They had some boxing going on in the basement where,
Yeah.
my boxing coach was he worked with a kind of famous, like one of them White Hope type guys.
Okay.
I think it was Scott Ledoux. But the whole thing, I'm thinking about this, and it's like it's impactful. It makes a difference, and a lot of these kids, maybe not everyone, they'll start to be around there a lot, and they'll start to make progress together, and that's keeping them away from the streets.
Absolutely.
And that's giving them a vision. And then some of them, they won't leave. They will stay and start doing what you're doing. They will start giving back, and they'll say, if we all do this generation to generation to generation, now all of a sudden we're making an impact that what we really wanted. But that's a long game.
That's the long game. And just like you mentioned, that type of impact, Greg, I walk through our gymnasium in our community center sometimes, and the kids will stop. I got one little guy, Noah, who kind of liked football. The other kids will be playing other things. So whenever I walk through, he's like, you ready for a couple passes? So I'll stop and say, all right, Noah, we got 3 passes. Let's go. But you can see the impact on that. And my goal is to have them see, we don't have to look and be basketball stars and all. Those are things that 1 in a million kids are going to get to. We need to look at the stuff that you can reach to. And this type of industry is great for them. They can work with their hands. It keeps them busy. And then you can move up in this business-wise, or you can just stay in the mechanical field like you was mentioning. You could do it mechanically. So these CMMS and facilities management, these are great industries for us to get our young ones into, like you mentioned.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, I know you know people like this, but in the last couple of years, and even over all my years, I've known some incredible individuals that are in the trades. One of them I met in the last year or so, probably less than 2 years. I'm going to shout out his name right quick. His name is Brian Bieschke. And up in Maryland, in Pennsylvania, and in Delaware, he's incredible when it comes to heavy equipment, farming equipment, and all these things. And he knows the whole thing, top to bottom, left to right. But the interesting thing is he's all about being real. He's straightforward, no BS, and he always does it right. He does not skip any steps. He's a certified maintenance and reliability professional. And I think in your environment, you're going to have some of those kids are going to grow up to be just like that. They can be just like that. And I just, so many things are flying through my head right now where this is why I like nonprofits so much, because they can do so much, and people need to see you. They need to see you. They need to, get in there and participate and help, or at least talk it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I really appreciate this opportunity. So we're also building a healthcare center on the side of that as well.
Nice.
So we got a lot going on, but that's also why coming here to this Brightly convention is amazing and is really helpful, because it's going to allow us to be able to track all 3 things and be able to gain the information that we need once we put everything into place through one system.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So now, when it comes to that with your maintenance team, when it comes to these kinds of changes and bringing in the technology, do you also first talk to your team and say, hey, what are you all dealing with? Where do you need help? What are some of the challenges? And hey, this is what we're planning to do. What would you like to see happen? Do you kind of do it like that so that the culture is really well binded and connected to what you do?
Yeah, we're really trying to continue to keep building our culture. We have a great culture right now at the company, and because we're kind of small, we still have like a family feel to it. We're really close. We have about 28 employees under North 10. But again, that's expanding. Technically, we have Bia Gem Crossing is our apartments.
Okay.
And then when we open up Carmen Gardens, which will be the healthcare facility, those all technically fall under the North 10 family.
Okay.
So we're growing, and we're growing fast. So we want to make sure that we do keep communicating. With my guys now, I speak to them when I get back. I'll be speaking to especially my facilities manager and really putting him on, and hopefully I can get him out here next year. I know I spoke to him, and he wish he was here right now, but I got him taking care of the building now. So next year, look to get him out here as well so he can gain some of this information and get feels on different people that's here.
I think that's really smart, because whenever you go to an event like this and you're here to learn things, find out how other people are innovating, and figure out what they've done with similar challenges, or maybe share the challenges that you're having, bringing more people is always better, because for you to take all the knowledge back, it's a little bit challenging. But what I was just thinking about, and I did the little thing on my head like, ooh, I got this idea. You're actually, based on what you do as an organization for that community, this ecosystem is going to produce and raise up the people that are going to care for those same facilities, and those will be jobs that are paid.
Absolutely.
And on like this. So you give it a long enough timeline, you're going to see something really special. So I want to do a couple of things. One, okay, I want to stay in touch on this and eventually have you or some other folks from your organization on CMMS Radio. And two, would it be okay if later on maybe you send me some things so that I can share maybe some visuals and some information about these different facilities so that
Absolutely.
people can see it?
I got a couple one-pagers that I can send you of the different programs that we do, our capital plan, all that. I can send you all that information.
I will put that all out there so people can just learn about it. And I think from a facilities perspective, I'm curious about one thing, and that is, well, I'm curious about a lot of things, obviously. Would you say, as far as your maturity level when it comes to maintenance, maybe maintenance best practices, you're maybe kind of at that beginning where you're starting to use a system, you know, the different Brightly products to at least get people to document what they're doing and make sure they know we're not trying to keep an eye on you. We're trying to gather the data so we know more about how we can be better and better and better. Yeah. Are you at that kind of early stage?
Yeah, I'm kind of at the early stage here. We have had this Brightly system for a while, but we weren't using it to the capabilities that we need to. But being here and seeing even more of what those capabilities are, like you mentioned, it's about gathering the data. It's about putting down, and it's not about tracking. I used to work for a school district in Philadelphia. It's not about tracking. We're not going to track you, so hey, listen, you're not getting that work done now, you're going to get in trouble. No, it's the information we need, and that helps us to be able to say, hey, we need more guys in the field. We need more people on the floor. We need this money so that we can replace these items later, so that we can build more healthcare centers, or we can, maintain the things that are there. So I love this system so far. I can see it doing really great things for us and giving me the information I need to be able to help to fund.
It's the way to leverage whatever technology you're using. And I think the other thing that's nice about this conference is that you have the learning lab, you have the sessions where you can learn this new information from people that have been in this industry for a long, long time, seen a lot of things, and they can give you kind of roadmaps to how you can do it. And then the other thing is, they leverage a lot of different expertise for the different things. So you'll have facilities management experts, but you'll also have, when you start with the healthcare facility, they have experts about that sector that understand how you can deploy this, but house it all under a single kind of umbrella. So you've got the single source that everybody talks about. You need a single source of truth and all that happy stuff, which is good. It's good stuff. But getting user adoption and letting the guys and gals know that we're not here babysitting you. We're trying to create data that tells us a story in the form of digital information so that we can make data-driven decisions. And at some point, you're going to start learning these preventive maintenance items we're doing, we can back those down just a little bit, because now we've discovered through all of our data that one's shouldn't be as frequent. And on like this, you find all these gaps, and you'll have great support for the different. There's going to be, I'm sure you have a lot of donors.
You'll get buy-in. You'll get buy-in from the guys. That's what my thought was. You'll get buy-in from the guys, because it's like, listen, I don't want to send you over to this job that you're going to waste your time on, that you feel like this is regular. We may not need you on. That may not be priority when we do an assessment. Priority may be this other job, and we may get the money now to replace this. They know it needs to be replaced. The guys that's working on it all the time, they know the equipment needs to be replaced. We got to tell the money people.
That's right.
And we got to be able to show that story, like you said.
Exactly. And the guys and gals out there doing the maintenance or even the repairs or anything in between, if they're putting information in there because we want to help tell this story, because we'll then get the resources we need so that we have an even better environment, and we can do even better work and get out of work on time, go spend time with the family, all that kind of stuff. And man, this has been really great chopping it up with you.
Greg, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and I want to do this again in the future, and we'll keep this one kind of short because I know everybody's got to get ready for this thing they call the Brightly Bash, and this is my
Brightly
first time
Bash.
here.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be awesome. Lee, I really appreciate you being on CMMS Radio and sharing the story of North 10, Philadelphia, and we're gonna keep talking about that story. Anytime you want to come back on the podcast and talk about it, you just let me know. You hit me up, and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. We'll keep in touch, Greg. Thank you.
You got it. I appreciate it.
Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.